Greetings, governors. This is Captain Obvious, and in this video, we are going to debate on which is better, doing the traditional grid style with a very compact design, or a little more elaborate and aesthetically pleasing city grid design. Okay, so here, if you take a look, this is your typical grid where you have things compact together and there's little room for any design. While we look to the other side, we have a much more elaborate, and you can see that I provided spaces. So instead of closing this completely off, I provided the space so you can add in some trees and our propaganda statues or whatnot. And if we look out, these are exactly the same number of houses. But when we look at the coverage, so for example, the market, it practically hits all, but there's still little room for more. But if we go into the smaller ones, for example, the spinner, you can see this definitely hits all, while this hits a little less. So without a doubt, this is definitely much more efficient compared to this side. However, if you think a little further, why would you do this compared to this? If you're looking for efficiency, of course you'll go for this, but what do you get in the long run? In the long run, you will get the rewards that you are looking for, which is knowledge, gold, and whatever other perks that this will have. But in the end, you will get those eventually. So at the end of the day, what do you want? You will achieve your goal of receiving this, but how will your city look like? So that is a debate that you will have for yourself. You want to end your game with this, and yet still have your stats and all the resources that you need, or do you want something a little more creative? So here's another example. So when the city got bigger, oops, so we got some fires, but nevertheless, if we look at this one, so for instance, if we are concentrating on the Grammaticus, you can see that this consumes a lot of area, plus we could add more. And again, these are exactly the same number of houses, same number of everything. And on this side, this Grammaticus, it doesn't hit everything just like on the previous example. But again, you have to think of the end of the day. Like, what do you want to achieve at the end of your city? What it will look like when you finish it? You will have a million in the bank eventually. So, what is the right answer? Do you want to do this, or do you want to be this one, a little less efficient, but much more pleasing to the eye? So, whenever I am presented with two choices, as much as possible, I believe the right answer is both. What if we combine efficiency with a little aesthetics? And what I created was this masterpiece right here. This is a hybrid of both styles. So here in the middle, we have our centerpiece, which is the Grammaticus, which hits a lot because of the standard grid type. And we also have the Sanctuary right next to it. And neatly right next to them are the other essentials. For example, the Marketplace, and we also have the tavern on this end, and we also have our security. We have our fire station, and then we have our police station, which is blue, conveniently blue and red, fire and security. And we also have the green one here for our medical. And right smack in the middle is the warehouse, so that all the other products from here, for instance, the spinner and the felter and all the other types, can just simply go here, which is exactly nearby. And as you can see, it blends in really, really nicely. And at some point, of course, the radius of this will not reach this side. Then all I need to do is create a new one right here. So this has that same kind of design, which is a combination. We got our houses, we got our police, we got our fire, we got our latrine here, and we also have a well. This could also be a watchtower, but of course we already have this right there, so it's redundant. And then same goes with the other side here. So here we have our sandal maker, we have our spinner, because the other spinner is way across this side, so it's accommodating this. And then at some point we could add a of course a warehouse here, and you can see we are still using our theme with our propaganda statues of the first family, and we also have our trees and decorations and whatnot. So our pattern continues. So here's another example where I did a hybrid design. So, but now it's I have like little spaces in between. So again, we have our centerpiece right here, but this time we have the governor's villa. And then as you can see, if you may notice on the sides, we have diagonal design, and we also have this line of trees. So when you do this, right, instead of doing the standard grid, you will have these little spaces here, and I utilized it as locations for our production buildings and other necessities for the city. For instance, we got our fire station, and this is a warehouse. We got our police station right here. So I made use of these spaces. So you are not restricted to just doing squares and rectangles. You can work on a diagonal and work on the sides of it. And of course, I've added in some fencing, and again, the propaganda statues. I mean, you could always change that with whatever is available to you, but I'm just showing that of what is possible. And as you can see, I am about to hit 1 million bank. So if I play this normal, just exactly normal grid, I would reach this regardless. So I would rather have this type of city at the end rather than just having just something basic and normal like this. You want to try to branch out and do other things instead of the normal things. And here you can see I've also done some industrial design work. So I have used creative ways of using the fields and whatnot. And then here's another side of the city, which is a little smaller, but it still does function the same way. So I have these things compact together, and they all work. And look at it. Look how gorgeous that is, right? So yeah, in ultimately in the end, this is what I would rather have. And but again, it is up to you on what you prefer of what your city would look like. So here's a look at a typical grid design. So as you can see, we have our necessities right here in the middle. We got our villa, we got our Grammaticus and Sanctuary, and we got a revolt. I think they're revolting that the city just looks so similar. Every block is the same. We don't know what street we're on anymore. And yeah, so you got our security, our police, our fire station. It is so uniform, right? You definitely see where it is, but then the edges are just open. I mean, you can see there's a lot of room, right, for improvement. So if you, that's why I added in fencing or gates and whatnot, and here or a wall, right, and also this side. There's a lot of room. So a lot of room for creativity. So this is why I prefer trying to do something different, and even on the sides, doing the diagonals as you've seen in the previous example, right, for this one. And then also even my industry is very, very similar, right? They all going in the same direction, but in the other one it was much more elaborate. See, this one is like almost like a perfect square. If you enjoyed the video and are looking for more design inspiration, feel free to follow, as I aim to have the most beautiful campaign city ever completed, and of course we'll also delve into the endless mode. Until then, take care.